Hello, Eagles Nation. Vincent Focht here, and welcome to a draft reaction Eagles chat, where we'll be reacting to all that has occurred these past couple of days for the Birds in the NFL draft, and as well, a big-time defensive addition that manifested in these past couple of days on top of the NFL draft for the Eagles. So we're going to have a lot to cover coming up in a matter of moments, only on Eagles Chat. But before we do so, make sure you like and subscribe to the Eagles Chat YouTube channel, as well as following us on Instagram at Chat Eagles, where you can find daily updates on your Birds. You can also find our Instagram in the description of this Eagles Chat video. But now let's get right into it, and let's not hesitate any further with talking on the big news, the big addition, the big defensive addition for the Birds. And yes, Jonathan Greenard is now officially a Philadelphia Eagle. It is so great to see. And there was a lot of talk going back and forth, especially last month in March, that Greenard and the Eagles were having conversations, but it all kind of toned down. A lot of people thought, well, Greenard may just be staying with the Vikings, or he may go with another team. But Howie Roseman was able to finagle and finesse his ways, whatever word you want to describe it as. Howie Roseman got the job done. That's what matters most. But what makes it even more hilarious was the night that all this was going down in terms of the Eagles getting everything together for him to be an official Philadelphia Eagle, right? He was attending the Celtics-Sixers playoff game, so he was already in the Philadelphia area. But now he's officially a part of the Philadelphia family with Eagles Nation. So great to see. But let's see what the Eagles gave up for him. Well, they gave up 2 third-round picks, one in this year's draft and one in next year's draft. But really, where the good news starts with Greenard is how much they gave him in terms of a contract. And immediately off the bat, 4 years, $100 million with $50 million guaranteed. Now, immediately right there, that is less than what you would have paid Jalen Phillips. And yes, folks, we know the contract Jalen Phillips got in Carolina, $120 million, $80 million guaranteed for 4 years. A massive overpay, but I ranted about that in the past. You can check out my free agency Eagles chat if you want to see that rant. But yes, so you look at it. We're paying less for this guy. He has more experience. He has 6 seasons of NFL experience under his belt. And especially when looking at last year for Greenard, he immediately will become the top pass rusher on the Eagles defense without a doubt. He has a 16.7% pressure rate over the last 2 seasons alone, which is 7th in the NFL, and as well played 500 pass rushing snaps on top of that. So that's a pretty good stat within itself right there. And then as well, continuing on, he has 121 pressures in that same time frame, which is tied for 11th in the NFL, and as well 34 quarterback hits, which is tied for 28th in the league. So yes, definitely not a deadbeat whatsoever. And with the Eagles giving up 2 third-rounders, that's not too bad to give up right there, but you're definitely getting a strong piece in return for that, especially as the Eagles needed an edge rusher. They needed an edge rusher. And you look at really what the Eagles would have had if they didn't sign him. And I mean, a lot of people were going towards maybe Nolan Smith, maybe as well Jalex Hunt, Moro Ojomo may have squeaked in there. You could even use Jahad Campbell, so he can be utilized as a linebacker and as an edge rusher. But with the absence of Nakobe Dean, you're probably going to see Jahad Campbell more so in the linebacker position in the future. But that was the big question mark. Who exactly are you going to get there? And if you weren't going to get Greenard, well, you would have had to really attack that spot in the draft. But hey, Howie Roseman was able to work his magic and as well build a good foundation for this Eagles squad, and as well build up a defensive line that is one of the best ranked in the league, especially going in these past seasons. So one heck of a move by Howie Roseman. He's not sitting on his rear end whatsoever. And speaking of Howie Roseman having some good plays in terms of GM plays, let's move on right to the draft content. What the name of this Eagles chat is, Draft Reaction. Let's get right into it. And first, starting off with the 1st and 2nd round. Now, folks, we're going to get right into it right here. And speaking of Howie Roseman doing his job well, finagling, fleecing teams, well, here's another perfect example. The guy literally jumped over the Pittsburgh Steelers while they were on the phone with Makai Lemon. Yes, and hopefully Makai Lemon doesn't turn into a lemon. A lot of people were thinking, oh, is this going to be a good pickup or whatnot? But hey, the Eagles made a trade with the Dallas Cowboys to pick up Lemon. When was the last time the Eagles traded up with the Dallas Cowboys in the draft? They got, Devontae Smith. Anybody remember that? But yes, this is definitely one heck of a pickup, that I can tell you. Now, right off the bat, I have to say, folks, that was probably one of the weirdest interviews I've ever watched in my entire life, seeing Makai Lemon get interviewed at the NFL draft, to be specific. It was something. He's an interesting character. I can definitely say that, to say the least. But hey, I don't care what he's like, as long as he can play the game well. That's all I care about. As long as he can bring the Eagles success, that's, again, all I care about. Now, there are a lot of people out there saying, oh, I don't know, how's this guy going to be in the locker room? Is he going to be a poison in the locker room? Folks, we have to go off of this right here immediately and say, okay, Howie Roseman immediately was going after one of the top players in the draft. Now, a lot of people's concern was, well, why did he fall so low in the draft? Is there a problem right there? Is there something going on? Blah, 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 blah. But, when looking at it overall, this is a guy that can really get things rock and roll. And I understand he's a slot receiver. And there's a lot of people out there that are kind of giving off their displeasure for the pick in terms of that respect. But hey, this is a guy who performed like crazy in college. He's a smooth route runner and something where his game is kind of similar to what Devontae Smith has to offer in his route running and that crisp route running on top of that. So this is definitely not bad whatsoever. But as well, on top of that, he is a guy that does not drop the ball. He has a 2.8% drop rate in 3 years. And in those 3 years, he only had 3 drops. So, folks, something to really pay attention to. And as well, people thinking, oh, is this the replacement for A.J. Brown? Well, A.J. Brown knows something about dropping the football, especially at the end of this past regular season. But is this the end of the A.J. Brown period? It could be. It's looking like it very much will be. The way the wide receiver room is being built up, and we'll see exactly what occurs during June 1st. But that's a whole nother topic. We can talk about that another time. But still, this is a big pickup for the Birds, 100%. And as well, when looking at Makai Lemon, I mean, he won the Fred Biletnikoff award, and that's on top of it is great to see. But he was one of college football's top receivers last season, and he finished with 79 catches for 1,156 yards and 11 touchdowns. And as well, on top of that, he had 14.6 yards per catch. So he is a big yards after catch type of guy, and that's something the Eagles could definitely use. Now, I understand they got guys like Hollywood Brown in there. You brought in Elijah Moore. This is going to be a big fight for the wide receiver position. That I can definitely tell you. So, folks, this coming up preseason, it's definitely going to be something to not ignore because it's going to be a fight for position. That I can definitely tell you. But most likely, and what is expected to come out of this, is the Eagles are most likely probably going to line Devontae Smith and as well with Dontavian Wicks as well on the outside, and they'll probably most likely have Lemon in the slot. Now, that's predicted on what's possibly going to happen. Now, a lot of people were saying, oh, you could as well put maybe Hollywood Brown on the outside positions, but he's not really an outside receiver at that. So that's a whole nother thing that occurred. But the main thing is looking at this year and what Howie Roseman's been able to get in the wide receiver column. He's been able to get guys that have that consistent type factor. And as well, we were talking about Hollywood Brown earlier. He's another big yards after catch type of player right there, where Hollywood Brown is a big-time deep threat. And I argued this back in a couple other Eagles chats, and I can even say it again. Maybe the last time that they had a guy like Hollywood Brown in terms of a deep threat, Quez Watkins, maybe when he was in his prime, but I would go back and argue Deshaun Jackson was the last time they really had a sincere deep threat back there for the Birds. But, I mean, still, to stay on point here with the pick here of Makai Lemon. Hopefully it doesn't turn out to be a lemon, but I think this guy, I mean, seeing the consistency, I think that's exactly what Howie Roseman was looking at right here and why the Eagles said, yes, we need to trade up. We need to get this guy immediately. And hey, I mean, I have to say, I like the pick right here. I'd rate the pick around, I'd say an A, B plus in that area. But hey, it's something that I definitely like to see. And on top of that, with stating on having Devontae Smith and Dontavian Wicks on the outside and as well with Lemon in the slot, it will give Hurts more opportunities, more options. I mean, before he was always going with what? He was always going with his buddy A.J. Brown, right? Constantly forcing it to Brown. And it was kind of that feeling of, oh my God, if I don't give A.J. Brown his touches, or as I should more so say his catches in a game, he's going to get angry. Oh my God, he's going to get angry. I got to force it. We got to force it to Brown. I think now he's got more options, right? Devontae Smith is the guy who will go up and get the ball. As well with the new guy, Makai Lemon is a guy that will as well go up and chase the ball and will hang on to it as well. 3 drops in 3 seasons. You can't ignore that. And with the Dontavian Wicks in there, you have Hollywood Brown, Elijah Moore. I'm not saying they're going to be the go-to guys immediately, but still, there are so many options for Hurts, something that can really help him in the long run instead of him always force-feeding a specific, number 11. That would definitely be great to see. But more options, definitely something that I can't ignore. But now moving on to round 2, with the Birds picking up one of the top tight ends in the draft. I'm not going to say he's the best tight end that was available, but Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt. So, hey, not bad whatsoever. And this is a guy, you want to talk about speed. Oh, we can definitely go there. He almost matches the same exact time that Makai Lemon recorded back in his USC pro day, as Makai Lemon had a 4.46 to 4.47 in his pro day run. Well, Eli Stowers, again, this is a tight end in the NFL Combine, ran a 4.51. This guy's got speed, and as well, he is a receiving tight end on top of that. And folks, I have to say, he is an explosive passer. If what I said previously didn't already kind of put that out there, but I mean, still, when looking at it, Stowers, he led the FBS in receiving yards per game last season for a tight end with 64.1 right there. Not bad whatsoever. Definitely something that needs to be talked about, that I can tell you. But this guy, he was a former quarterback, and he is very fluid in his route running, and as well can be used as a deep ball threat. That's another thing right here, as this guy is really one heck of a receiver, and something where there's going to be the tight end to Dallas Goedert, but still is a guy that, I mean, can really be reliable, where if, God forbid, something happens with Dallas Goedert, we know the injuries weren't necessarily so much of a factor this season, but who knows exactly what's going to occur down the line. Dallas Goedert had an incredible year. I'm not going to knock him one bit. Dallas Goedert literally broke the Eagles franchise record for touchdowns scored by a tight end in 1 year. So I'm not saying that he's on the decline by any means, but God forbid if something happens, where are you going to go? You're going to go to Calcaterra. You had Stoll, I remember, back there as well. I mean, there wasn't really any depth in that tight end position. And right here, what was Howie Roseman about going into this offseason and into this draft? Being able to build up good depth, good girth in this organization, and having a foundation that is strong and not full of cracks, and a foundation that has that thick mentality, and it's all sealed up, ready to go, has no leaks in it. That's what Howie Roseman's been looking to create, and I definitely think with this pickup right here, I have to rate it at a pretty high, I would say around another one, an A, B plus type of area. Again, I'm not going to go completely over at the top with grading these guys, because again, we can only judge off of what we've seen on paper, not necessarily, I mean, there's obviously no proof of these guys in the NFL yet, so I'm not going to go over the top with that. So that's understandable, and it should be. But in my opinion, a great pickup right here. This is going to be a tight end where most likely, and we're expected to say, after Dallas Goedert moves down the line in terms of retirement, that this guy will be the one to fill in. So Eli Stowers, definitely, in my opinion, a great pickup and something to be happy about if you are indeed an Eagles fan. But now, moving on to rounds 3, 5, and 6, and going right off the top right here, an offensive tackle with Markel Bell out of Miami. So this guard right here, he's a big boy right here. 6'9", 346 pounds. Man, oh man, this guy's going to be one heck of a threat on the offensive line. Now, we knew there was a lot going on with the Eagles' offensive line this year, and things weren't exactly running at, let's just say, the levels that they were running at back in the 2024 season. It was a big drop-off for the O-line. I understand injuries are a big piece of that. You had Lane Johnson going through a lot. Landon Dickerson was going through back trouble. Cam Jurgens was going through injuries. It was just not a good year, and you had guys like Brett Toth in there who was it was hard to watch. That I can definitely say, as well with Fred Johnson, which I don't want to knock Johnson too much. He actually didn't do too bad. But still, when looking at Markel Bell, this is a guy who didn't allow a single sack last season. So on top of that, not only is he big, but that consistent factor is what we're looking to go to. And with his 1.8 wingspan, oh my God, this is definitely going to be something to look at. That I can tell you, as I mean, again, using his 1.8 wingspan to push over the defenders. I mean, this is a guy that, holy mackerel, we're straight up bringing in houses at this point. I mean, this is incredible to see. A brick wall would be definitely good to see, and I think we just found our brick wall. This kid, man, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens now. There's a lot to like about this guy. He's a big-time prospect for the Eagles. He won't be a starting tackle for him. I'm not going out of my way saying he's going to be immediately put on the line, but again, for that foundation that Howie Roseman is trying to build, this is definitely great to see. Remember, what did I just mention? Not that long ago, I brought up names like Brett Toth, which, again, he wasn't exactly the greatest thing, so that's not really a good example to use here, but Fred Johnson, there you have it. Fred Johnson, a guy who's not a starter, but is someone that was utilized a lot in emergency situations, especially when Lane Johnson was injured this year. I'm not saying he's going to be a backup. I'm not saying he can't work his way up to be a starter, but still, he's not going to be on the front line immediately. But I can't wait again for preseason. I cannot wait to watch this kid go to work and really put his body in the way, and we'll see how he plants his feet. I can't wait. I'm really excited to see what he has to offer against 6'9", 346 pounds. Hey, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to watch this guy. That I can tell you. But moving on next to round 5 is we go into quarterback Cole Payton. The Eagles have been bringing in a lot of backup quarterbacks, and this guy out of North Dakota State, yeah, not too bad. And speaking of which, a dual threat. Payton is that Taysom Hill type role, if you know what I mean, right in there. As originally quarterback, he can also be used as a running back, or I should say he was used as a running back before he is stated as a quarterback. Let's make sure to get that straight. But overall, this guy can be utilized in multiple different positions, and usually when you see guys that are dual threat like this, you'll see them a lot on special teams, but that Taysom Hill type feel. And those of you who don't know where I'm going with this Taysom Hill type feel, extreme versatility is really what I'm going for on this whole situation right here. And when looking at Taysom Hill, what did he do? While he was listed as a tight end originally, he played multiple positions throughout his career, including quarterback, running back, wide receiver, special teams. It was many different areas, and that's why he earned the nickname that he had at the time as well, with the human Swiss Army knife. Everywhere, could be used wherever you needed him. That's where he'd be. And I really see this guy being another one of those. Cole Payton being that emergency guy where, oh, we need you here. All right, there he is. So not bad whatsoever. And even when looking at, Payton in general, this is something where that athletic ability you could really use outside of the pocket to create lots of space, to make different plays. I mean, that versatility, like I said before, it will be huge, and something where the Eagles, I mean, they usually like to do these, some strange maneuvers. And I know, obviously, we'll see what Sean Mannion's going to have, the new offensive coordinator for the Birds. But, I mean, looking at them in the red zone, especially this year or this past season, they tried some trickery. But you bring guys in here like this that can be utilized wherever and can be utilized in multiple different positions. And really, that's a great talent within itself. Definitely a weapon that can be brought in. That I can tell you. And something where, hey, I'm excited to see what could occur right there. Is capable of passing and rushing effectively. On top of that, this is something where he could be a big-time developmental prospect behind Jalen Hurts, especially as we don't know necessarily what's going to be occurring with Tanner McKee and how much longer he's going to be around here. I mean, if you remember, you have Tanner McKee back there. You have Andy Dalton, who you brought in, that longtime veteran. So it's just, we'll see exactly what occurs back there in the backup quarterback room. But again, it's going to be a fight for the QB2 position. And Tanner McKee, he had a little bit of a shaky year last year in the performances that he had. But if you want to take out the preseason, when Tanner McKee was brought into the game, it was a little interesting to witness, that I can tell you. So it's going to be a little bit of a fight for the QB2 position this year. And I mean, hey, the Eagles already have gadget type players. I mean, you have Wicks, you have Hollywood Brown, and now on top of that, you have Payton right here being brought in. And to say his full name, Cole Payton, just want to make sure I get that one specific right. You got a lot of gadget guys, and this is something where having players like that on your squad definitely does not hurt, being able to utilize them in certain areas and many different areas to, again, if you want to draw up a trick play, there's your guys. And especially as well on special teams, which the Eagles kind of struggled with last year. Good additions right here. Can't wait to see what occurs from that. But now, moving out of the round 5 area and now into round 6. What did the Eagles pick up? Well, number 207 overall in the round 6, they picked up Micah Morris, offensive lineman from Georgia. Another Bulldog to add to this team. Surprise, surprise, folks. But yes, definitely not bad to see whatsoever. And he's been tested in his time in Georgia, that I can definitely tell you. And what's funny enough is he faced off against Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter as well. And he will be seeing them again in training camp. But yeah, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, kind of played with those guys before. A lot of people think, oh yeah, did he play with them? Well, yeah, he did. He faced off against them. So you will see them again, and we'll see exactly what occurs right there going up against the second team offense. So, I mean, it's going to be quite interesting to see, that I can tell you. But, well, excuse me, when I should say the first team defense goes up against the second team offense right there. So English would be great to say. But we'll see exactly what comes out of Morrison. Like I said, he's had a good amount of tests, but we'll see what occurs right here, and hopefully we'll be able to work up the ranks, that I can say, in the near years. But now moving on to the final slide of this NFL draft reaction as we move into the final round, round number 7, as we go into Cole Winooski, right here, which was pick number 244 in the 7th round, which was given to the Eagles from the Vikings right there. Safety out of Texas Tech. And something that the Eagles needed, right? A lot of people saying, we need a safety, we need a safety. Well, this is something where you get that foundation built up, hopefully, in the safety position. Obviously, we'll see what the kid has to offer, right? You got rid of Sidney Brown for a bag of chips, right? Sidney Brown, nothing really too crazy. You have Marcus Epps back there. You also have the kid Makuba back there as well. But they needed some more safety girth, right? And that is something where, bringing in a guy like this, not bad whatsoever, from Texas Tech. And he's a former linebacker out of North Dakota State. And Winooski moved to safety for the Bison. And then after that, he had, 8 interceptions in 2023. So not bad whatsoever, but he had a broken foot in the 2024 season, but then he transferred to Texas Tech in 2025 and continued to lay on the gas right there. That I can definitely tell you. But he is more of a box type of safety, is what has been really put out there time and time again. And he's not necessarily a ball hawk type of guy, but this is something where he can really make his mark in the NFL. And again, with a player like this, who can be utilized in multiple different positions, like I said before, he's not a linebacker anymore. He was, but that can be something where, again, could be a solid player on special teams, something the Eagles struggled with last year. I know I said it before, but it's an important note to make right there. But, still, very important, could be used on special teams with that aggressiveness and toughness that he has. He is a very feisty, gritty player, and not a bad addition, that I can definitely tell you on that. But now moving on to our second pickup in the round of 7, right? Number 251 overall from the Rams. They got this pick from Uar Bernard, defensive tackle from Nigeria. So this guy right here, he was part of the International Pathway Program. And hey, 6'4", 306 pounds. Another big body that the Eagles have a chance to add right there. Overall, yeah, he was a part of the International Pathway system, but as well never played organized football, but was definitely a big-time guy that really brought out some impressed looks for the Eagles, as in the program's Pro Day in March. Yeah, a lot of people, let's just say he caught some eyes of some people out there in the stands watching, right? Some scouts. So at the Pro Day, he was tested with a 4.63 40-yard dash, 39-inch vertical, a 10 and a 10 broad jump, and a 31 bench reps on top of that. So yeah, we may have something right here, folks. Not too bad whatsoever, as, again, a guy that hopefully will be worked up behind the scenes and getting him ready to go. A defensive tackle, again, like I said before, this is a guy who's not a little player whatsoever. 6'4", 306 pounds. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but definitely something that, again, is known to have that gritty mentality, can be something that can help out in a big-time situation in the future, that I can definitely say. But now on to the final pick of the entire draft, and the final pick of round number 7, as the Eagles, 252 overall, another one from the Rams. The Birds picked up Keyshawn James Newby, another edge rusher out of New Mexico. Now, when looking at this for the Eagles, I have to say, not a bad pickup whatsoever. And this is a guy who was first team All-Mountain West in the All-Mountain West Conference selection. And seriously, not bad. He finished with 9 sacks last year. And hey, he's a guy that is known for winning on the edge. He has strong bursts. He has strong bursts on the edge and is able to hold his position. That I can definitely tell you. After every single snap, what has been reported, and as well with the research I have done, and as well with the film that I've looked at on this guy, he is someone that has that explosive type mentality. And again, I know I just stated this about like 2 seconds ago, but holding the edge is extremely important. We saw that in the past, some mistakes that were made by the Eagles this past season on not holding that, not being able to keep the QB contained. That's the whole idea of the edge rusher. And with that explosive, strong feel that he has, again, 9 sacks, that doesn't lie whatsoever. Last season, finishing with that, yeah, I have to say, big time, a big time strong addition here for the Birds and something that can really help them in the long run. As hey, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see exactly what happens. Again, it's going to be a fight. And again, as I finish off this Eagles chat, folks, I have to say, I know a lot of people don't usually like staying tuned in for the NFL preseason. Those 3 games, they can get boring. I've heard it all. But this year is definitely going to be a preseason to tune into. There's going to be a lot of jobs rocking and rolling, ready to go. And excuse me, folks, I have to get right back in here. A little glitch right there. Apologies for that. But as we move into our next slide right here, as man, oh man, everything's occurring right now. I don't know what's going on. Look at me. I'm making it and we're making it. And the Eagles have definitely made it the way things have been going. But moving into our final slide, right? My draft grade for the Eagles. So overall, what I definitely have to say is I think I will give them a B plus. I think it was something where they made the moves necessary. And again, like I stated throughout this Eagles chat, Howie Roseman made sure to really build up the foundation for this team. And the main thing is kind of continuing the cycle. Now, what do I exactly mean by that? Well, not exactly having it to the point where when you have all of your guys get to a certain age at one time, next thing you know, you're sitting at an emergency situation because you're losing all your talent at one time. Howie Roseman has done a good job of this. I don't know how he keeps doing it, especially with bringing in guys like Renard and as well trading up in the draft to get Lemon and literally stealing Lemon away from the Pittsburgh Steelers. But on top of that, he is making sure that this team's core stays young. That way, when the big stars that we have now go on, you'll have guys in the backup and behind the curtain that are able to step up forward, step up strong, and step on the stage to put out a good performance for this team. It's something that he's been doing well with these, you could argue this past entire decade of making this team to be a competitor each and every year, not be one of those teams where they're competitive and the next thing you know, they fall off for 5 seasons and then they have to go through a full rebuild right now. What Howie Roseman is doing is keeping the build going. There's no rebuild. It's just a continuous build. And it's something where, hey, he's doing well. He's keeping the train rocking and rolling, and the Eagles are flying. Hopefully, I'm not going to say better than ever. I don't want to jump over anything right now because we got to see how these guys perform on the field in that Eagles uniform. But off of paper, I can definitely say it looks like the Eagles are going to fly, not just this year, but in the next upcoming seasons. I'm very happy on what I saw. And again, a B plus is my final reaction to this Eagles 2026 NFL draft. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Eagles chat, and we'll see exactly what occurs in these upcoming following weeks. The NFL schedule will be released in May, so we'll have a reaction Eagles chat out for you right there. And then we can all of us can only guess what's going to happen with AJ Brown come the beginning of June. At this point, I'm completely sick of hearing about it. If he wants to go, if he's gone, he's gone. At this point, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sure a lot of you are probably sick of hearing it as well. But I blabbed enough. That's going to do it for this Eagles chat. Hope you all enjoyed it. Again, make sure to like and subscribe to this Eagles chat YouTube video, and as well to subscribe to the Eagles chat YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram for daily updates on your Birds, and especially following the draft or any news that comes out with the Birds as this offseason continues. But that's all for me. And as always, you already know, folks, go Birds! Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy the great weather that is out there in the Delaware Valley. Have a good one, folks.